the first thing you have to look at is never look at just one time frame. Never just look at just the 5-minute candle. You have to look at both 5 minutes and 10 minutes and longer candles like 1 hour or 3 hours or 4 hours, because that's what they are looking at. They want big moves. So the two time frame thing is very important. That's what I want to stress here. Now, especially in small candles, right? In this one, for example, you did have a significant spike here. However, this spike will not be visible on a longer candle, on a longer time frame, sorry. So, 1 hour candle, this will be nothing. This will just be one clear straight line, which is why you always look at both. So if you can identify a trend, if you can see, okay, fine, we know the market was in this range over here and it broke out. The only person who could make the move to break it out was a big institutional investor, right? It could be a hedge fund, it could be a bank, it could be something of that sort. So you want to go along with them. So don't take up short positions. If the market comes here and starts falling, unless it breaches the previous level, it is still a buy. Whatever the current trend is, always follow that trend. Basically, you should be happy when the market starts falling because you know that you are just getting a better price. Now, how these institutions have these big moves is they need a lot of volume. They aren't trading with 1 lot, 2 lots, or 10 lots. They need a lot of lots. So before a big move, you usually have like a range, something of this sort, a range where they are buying and buying and buying or selling or whatever they're accumulating in this phase. So this is how it works. You have phases of the market. You have ranges. In ranges, what happens is these guys are buying or selling whatever the next move is. They are accumulating stock and then they push the stock upwards. Once the stock has reached the required price, that's when they start dumping it off slowly. Okay? So there are 3 main trends in a market. One is the long-term trend. A long-term trend is basically something ranging from a month or a year. Okay, so when Nifty went down all the way to 7,500, you had a big long-term uptrend, which is still continuing so far. An intermediate trend could be something around, 3 weeks or 1 month or something of that sort. And what we trade in, that is the shortest time frame, right? And that is intraday. So what you can look at is what the long-term trend is, what the intermediate trend is, and if the short-term trend is the opposite. Suppose the market is an uptrend, the intermediate trend, which is in the past month, the market has also moved upwards, but today the market has fallen. You should be even more confident of taking a buy because you know that the trend is still in your favor. Now, how you identify a trend is based on its health and its momentum. What health and momentum basically means is the strength, how fast the candle is moving and how long it is moving for. You can also look at retracements. So, yeah. So over here, if we go to like a 30-minute candle, you can see ever since here, the market has just gone upwards. So your long-term trend is pretty clear that it's going up. However, you have phases. When the market was at this level, at around 17,250 for Nifty Bank, it pushed up really fast. It then retraced, but it retraced slightly. What percentage is this of the overall retracement? It's just like 10, 15, 20%. So it doesn't really matter. This uptrend is still in full force. However, now, after some time, once it hits a particular point, the move got exhausted. That's when the institution said this much is enough, and the price slowly started falling down. Then it moved up again, and again you can see the markets were unable to push through this same barrier, and then it came down significantly. And then after another accumulation phase of buying and storing stocks, that's when you had your next big move. So you can see how strong a trend is. Over here, the markets were in a lot of buying power. They were under a lot of pressure. So it just kept going up with nobody who could stop the seller. Now, since this entire straight line was stopped here, this level becomes very important for us because we know that there was something important here which stopped the buys. So if you want, you can draw like a support and resistance line here because that's where everything changed. That's what stopped the institutional investors from going upwards. Okay, so now this was the last day, right? This is 7:10, and this is the Nifty chart. So the market, Nifty's market, if we look from a longer time frame, suppose we're looking at 30 minutes, we know it's clearly an uptrend, especially recently. it has started to form something of a range, but it is still a very clear uptrend. And your intermediate trend is something of a range, right? So the market had tried to breach this level of around 10,800 in Nifty, but it couldn't, right? And it's still trying to break that particular level. So let's just look at what happened in one particular day and how we could have traded. Okay, here the market opens, right? And you can see there's both buying and selling pressure. Usually in the first 10, 15 minutes of the day, you cannot trade if you aren't sure about what's happening. But over here, you can clearly see that there are some signs of weakness when the market is going upwards. So when the market is going upwards, all this while you can see these wicks. So you can see that there is selling pressure which is coming in. And the volume, when you keep going upwards, is actually dropping slightly. There was more volume here. There was more volume in the going up phase, but at the top, you saw that the volume is dropping. That could tell you that there is an issue here. There is some selling power all throughout that buyers might want to come in. So at this point, when you see a first major reversal candle, where there is a major wick and the market is starting to move, at this point, you can be relatively sure that the market has now reversed directions. Especially after it takes a big candle to break the day's low, you can enter a sell here because the market is clearly going downwards. So you can see the market going up here with some selling pressure, but when it moves down, there is not a lot of buying pressure. When the lower wicks increase in size, so at this point, for instance, when the lower wicks increase in size, this is when you know that there is something happening. There could be buying pressure coming in. So anytime there's like an up move or down move, you can look at the wicks. You can look at the strength of the move, if it's increasing or decreasing, and then think accordingly. So over here, despite it being an up move, it's not very strong. You don't have any big major candle and you don't have anything serious happening here. It's just a regular movement with the volume consecutively dropping all throughout. Then you have some candle with selling pressure, another selling pressure, and there's a lot of selling pressure here because the market really tried to go up, but it was pushed down significantly. And that's when you start seeing big candles come in. So the market moves down all the way till here. And then this is where the strength of it slightly decreases. The market doesn't go down or up in a straight line. So what's happening is you have some small retracement. It could be profit booking. It could be somebody who shorted the market here. Once it reached this level, they're like, okay, you know what? It's enough. I've made enough money. Let me pull something out. And this candle is when some retailers try to buy because the big candle, it's an engulfing pattern, but you should ignore it. Especially in intraday, it doesn't really have a lot of strength. You should still be looking to sell. You should be looking at the candle. Okay, you have one major candle, but there's not a lot of volume here. Okay, next candle, it's smaller, but it still moved upwards. Let's see what happens. Can it break through? Can it really sustain this? Plus, we know we have the days open candle over here. So that should be another level which we can look out for. If it breaks this level, then you can maybe think, okay, you know what? Maybe buyers have now come in. But as soon as this happened, again, the markets are coming down. Markets kept falling again, and then you saw some buying power. With some buying power, again, the market stabilized for a bit. So from around 11:15 to say around 12, for an hour, nothing really happened. Right? So there was a range. Markets fell down again, but this time you can see the strength isn't really there. Look, compare this down move to this candle. Over here, the market fell from 10,800 all the way to 10,740 really quickly with nothing in the middle. But now to go from 1070 to 10,706, to move another 30 points, that has taken much, much longer. And the strength hasn't been the same either. So this is how you judge strength and momentum. The strength of the down move was somewhat slowing. Plus, you do know that all the intermediate and long-term trends are still in your favor. So the markets technically shouldn't fall down significantly unless there's a big fundamental move happening. So once you reach here and the markets don't move lower, you can look back. You can see if there is any level, any particular level here. You can clearly notice that this is somewhat of the lowest point. This line here could be a support zone. The market hasn't fallen below here at all. So this is a very important support zone. If the market breaks 10,666, then you know, okay, something is wrong because it has breached a very important level. Until it breaks 10,666, it is still a buy. Okay. Now, even moving upwards, this is somewhere where the market is falling and then it reversed direction here. Yes, there is more of a move here as well, but this is just a couple of candles. This is just like 15 minutes. So if you look at a longer time frame, now if we switch to like 30 minutes or something, that bottom spike that you could see, that's now gone. That is just one long candle. I think this is the same time. This is 7, 8. Yeah. So this isn't really shown as much. See, even this downward movement which happened, that is just a wick, right? It's not an actual level as such. So once the market took support here, buyers came in, and buyers came in with volume. You saw an uptick in volume despite there being a very small candle. So with volume, what we basically look at is abnormalities. If there is a big candle, if there is a big green candle, say here, there should be a big volume candle as well, because you need lots to move the price. What we are looking at is basically abnormalities. We want like a large candle with very low volume. That could mean something to us. A large candle with very low volume could mean that there are only buyers here, which is why they didn't have to compete with the sellers, which is why whatever they bought, everybody is just buying here. Even though it's a small candle, it moved up significantly. Now, since this one is a short candle, the body is pretty short, but there is significant volume here. That's an abnormality. So what this could be saying is this candle is hiding some of the buyers. Because if all of this 330K, whatever, were all buyers, there should have been a big green candle here itself, but there wasn't. This is an abnormality. If you see
sorry to interrupt you. I have a quick query. So if you see the third candle post 11 a.m., it is a negative volume candle, but the price is positive.
Are you talking about this candle?
3 candles before that. This short red one.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one after that, right? One to the right.
Yeah.
No, the one to the right. Two candles to the right. Yeah, this one. Yeah. So there is negative volume, but there is a positive spike in price, right? I was just curious how that happens.
That is nothing. That just depends on the opening and the closing price. You shouldn't really look at the color of the volume candle. That's nothing. You can ignore that altogether. It doesn't matter at all. Because obviously, since this candle, for example, this candle is red, but the price moved up, it doesn't mean anything. Because volume is just telling you the total amount of lots that were exchanged. The volume doesn't tell you how many buyers there were, how many sellers there were. That is only shown by the price.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Right? So that is completely hidden. So you can just
actually, sorry to interrupt again, but like the color of the volume bar, I mean, a lot of people don't know this. The color of the volume bar actually depends on the closing price of that candle compared to the last candle. So if the closing price of that candle is below the last candle's closing price, so the color will be red. Otherwise, so
okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, so even with volume, don't pay too much attention to volume. We basically don't use any indicators here because indicators are mainly, most of them are all lagging indicators. The only actual indicator you have is price. Volume can be used to identify abnormalities and that's it. Don't pay too much attention to the volume because volume changes with time. At the beginning of a day at around 9:15, you will have a lot of volume no matter what is happening. Then again, at usually around 12:30 when the European markets open, you again have a spike in volume usually. Then whenever there's an up move at around 250 to 245, around that time, you usually have one big move. Again, the volume spikes up. So you should know what the timings are. You should know when the European markets open. You should know what the Dow is doing. If there's a big move in the Dow or if there's a big move in USD INR, that will also reflect in our charts as well. Right? So basically over here, look at the candles. Just try to judge the strength of the movement. How strong is the up move? Do you think it's going to continue? Is it near a support and resistance line or no? So now we've reached this point, right, where you did see buying pressure finally come in. You saw a lot of buying pressure and you can see the candle slowly moving upwards. And once this level is breached, you should know that the market should keep going forward. Now we're in an uptrend here and then we see this big selling pressure coming in over here. That could be nothing. This could be nothing because you're in an up move. In an up move, there could be some profit booking, right? And it hasn't moved too much and the strength has been good so far. the price slowly accumulates before you see another spike forward. Then again, you can notice a similar trend where once it reaches at a certain level, again, this is another zone around a 5-minute candle, you see selling pressure start to come in. You see one of the candle fall down, and then you can take a trade. You can see the price keeps going down. There's some selling pressure here. You could be scared of this and exit right here at the next candle, especially if you have like 2 consecutive green candles after reversal. You can choose to either book like part of your profits or exit completely. That depends on you. Because for us, even like a 30-point move is good enough, right? Now, coming to support and resistance, how do you identify some of the zones? So what I've seen some people do is draw lines everywhere. Instead of drawing lines everywhere, look at those areas where the price has moved. So from this level, the price moved up significantly, and then it couldn't reach this level, right? So you can draw a straight line from here to here, and then something happened which rejected this level. You can probably draw a support line here because you know this candle is important. Now, a line is meant to be a zone. A zone because retailers can also move the markets by around like 25, 30 points in Nifty, even though it isn't really important, right? So what you do is you can just assume this zone around 10,195 to 10,250 or something. This is a zone where the market can take support, because what happened the last time when the price reached this level, the buyer said, okay, no, enough is enough. I don't want to buy anymore. This is too much for me. This is what's happening in the market. So from here, you then see the price slowly start to drop. The next time when the market moves up, you can see it does take some support at the same level again. So all you should really look at when you're drawing lines is places where stuff changes, where an uptrend or downtrend changes. So this could be a line, for instance. This could be somewhat of a zone. This could be a zone. Ignore fake outs. Just look at this level. Try to connect as many dots as you can to form like a rough idea of the zone of where buying pressure again came in. So if the market falls back down to 9799, you can expect something there because people will remember it. People will remember that the price fell down here, but as soon as it touched this level, buyers came in again. When the price came here, buyers couldn't push the price any further, and it immediately started coming down. So if it's something near a level, even when you're looking at levels, opening prices and closing prices can be somewhat important. Even highs and days can be looked at. Because the price couldn't reach a certain high, that means the same thing, that it couldn't break a certain level. The prices couldn't go up after that. So even if we move it back, now coming on this day, this is 7th, 6th. Okay, so the market opened with a gap up. So you know there is significant buying pressure. Just from a gap up itself, you can come to know that there is buying. If in the first half an hour, the price does not fall down, the day usually ends positive. So if there's a gap up opening and the price doesn't close the gap within the first half an hour or 45 minutes, throughout the day, it usually 90% of the time, it won't be able to close the gap. Also, another thing about gaps is gaps are usually filled and they're filled quickly. So if the price started falling here and it came down to somewhere on this level, you can assume that it would fall all the way down to somewhere here. Or the gaps are usually filled quickly. Okay, so the market opens, there is some buying pressure, and you can see that it just keeps going upwards. There is no breach. It's very straightforward. So whenever you see a range, you shouldn't really be scared of exactly what is happening, of maybe there's a reversal. You shouldn't be picking reversals in the first place at all, because reversals are just there maybe once or twice in a day. So if you look at 7-6, the price reversed here once, it was an uptrend, then it came down, then it came from down, it went up again. That's it. So there were 2 reversals to catch, one here, one here. That's it. No other reversal. So if the price is in an uptrend, then you should be looking at buying. When should you be looking at buying? When the price falls down slightly, that's when you buy. So just because you see a few candles, don't assume that it's a sell. If you are going against the trend, you should know what you're doing. You should know that, okay, the chances of this being a reversal is very few, because there are like 20 candles, 30 candles in a day. However, only 2 of them will actually indicate a reversal. So even in the next day, like 7, 8, the market is moving down, and then one up move, one down move. Again, you just have one reversal here, and one reversal here. So whenever you're trading, always trade with the trend. In this case, the market didn't really change direction at all. In the last trading session, one reversal from this level, another reversal, another. So you just have like 3 or 4 reversals which happen in a day. Most of the time, the same trend is just continuing. Now over here, when the market opens, the opening candle is important. If it breaks the opening candle, that's a good sign that the market will probably continue and break that level again. So the price moved upwards. There is still buying pressure. And all of a sudden, after buying pressure, you see a big candle. The price stabilizes. It doesn't really move down much. Even if it moves down to somewhere around here, that is nothing. That is still a buy. That is still just offering you a good price. And the market keeps going upwards. Over here, how do we find out when the reversal is? Over here, you can see the market is moving upwards and there wasn't really a lot of retracement. So here the high point, for example, is around 10709. The market then moved down to 10691 and then continued upwards. Again, the market moved up to 10739, moved down to 724, and then again moved upwards. Here you can see the markets actually fell down significantly. For the first time, the market actually took out one of the bigger candles. So this up move, this last up move was completely rejected by the market. So over here, this is when you can start thinking about, okay, you know what? Maybe the market has now changed direction because it wasn't able to push up any further and actually moved below a certain level. So the point here is the market making higher highs and higher lows or lower highs or whatever happens. So unless in this case, the market made a new higher high and it made a low here, but the low is still higher than the previous low. So the market starts here with this candle. It creates a new high. When it retraces, it still creates a new low. When the market moves up again, it's a new high and it's making a new low. This is the definition of an uptrend. However, what happens here? The market didn't make a new high. That's a warning signal. Why wasn't the market from here able to put up higher? And then did it make a higher low? No, the lows have now fallen down. This is an indication that bears could now be in control. That the market has started to make lower lows. The sellers are now able to come in and push the price down. So after it moves down, you still have people coming in because remember, this move lasted from 9:15, the up move all the way till 13:35, right? So about 1:30. So that was a long up move. People, when they see a dip, they will still be looking to buy. What they haven't noticed is the market has made a new lower low. So when the market pushes up again, you can still think of it as a sell. Why? Because now it has made a lower low. It is likely that is about to continue. Now the market moves down and you see some selling pressure again coming in. Again, after such a big uptrend, you can't expect the market to immediately fall down quickly. It will take time. It will form. This is basically a range. Market is taking support at 742 and the high point being around 1060 or something, right? So this is forming a range. A range is an indication of accumulation, that the big boys are doing something and they are planning for a big move. So once that happens, the market then falls. Once they have accumulated everything, once they have enough shares, enough lots, then the market starts falling, right? So the market falls down. The market has now fallen from 778 all the way to 10718. We are currently at this candle, 10718. You clearly have somewhat of a downtrend. Then the price starts increasing again. The price starts increasing, but then look at the strength of the increase. This is where the health of an uptrend comes in. How big are the candles here? How strong are the candles here? Do they have the same volume? Now, if we notice, when the market is falling, this area has more volume as compared to the uptrend. When the market is moving upwards, there isn't a lot of volume. This could be an indication that this is a fake out. Market moves up, you see sellers coming in, and all of a sudden, this time they're able to completely push the market down. The market moves down. Again, it's near your level because it's near your day low. Once it's at a day low, it takes some support. You see buyers start to come in, and then it's a buy again. Any doubts so far?
Yes, I have one doubt. So the longer term trend here is up, and now we took a short position here because we saw that market is going down in a short term. So
Yeah, so when the market made a new lower low, that's when you can assume that that right now the short-term trend is a sell.
okay, so we should take that short position there.
You could. That's the only time you can take a short position. Any other time it would be pretty useless because you will be going against the market.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, one
Thank
second. Okay, let's just move on to the next day and try to figure out what happened here. So the next day, we know the market was in a significant uptrend. Nifty just had a gap up opening and it tried to move above 10,778, but it couldn't. And it remained around 10,671 to 10,780. The market remained in this move. But we know it could try to move up higher. However, when there is a significant gap up move, especially Nifty had reached 10,800 for such a long time, you can assume that with round numbers, what happens is people have their targets placed there. That, okay, fine, especially the big institutions, they are looking at these big moves. They are probably the ones who bought at 9,000 and they're still waiting to sell. They were probably waiting for 10,700, 10,800 to sell. Now let's try to figure out what happened the next day. The next day, again, you have a bit of an up movement, like a gap up opening of sorts because the market immediately started off here, tried to break down, tried to break the lower low, but it couldn't. It couldn't really move down. It was still a gap up opening and the market tried to push up higher. However, you know that there were sellers here. So this candle itself, just zoom in. So this candle, the first candle that you see on this day in itself is important. Why? Because it shows you a lot of different information. One, the candle was red. So there are sellers here. It shows a long bottom wick. The bottom wick shows that there are enough sellers who want to push the price down. However, the buyers eventually won out. Just because the buyers won out and the market moved up, that doesn't mean that all the sellers went away. Over here, you should be really scared because you know there are both buyers and sellers in this market and they're fighting each other right now. So when you see a candle here, especially at an up move, so the market was trying to push up high. When the market pushes up high, it has to go up with force. There has to be something significant which is pushing the market upwards, right? So when you see the market tried, there was already a fight between buyers and sellers in the first candle. Even the second candle, you can see there is a wick. And third, when you see this doji being formed, you can assume that the sellers might start coming in. They might see that this is a chance. So one big candle could change everything because the opening wasn't very strong. Now, what happened was the market went up. You see a big red candle happening and the volume is very low over here. The volume is low. What does this mean? How can a small number of people have such a big impact? What that could mean is there were no buyers. All of these 138K people could have been sellers. Now look at the first candle. The first candle has 568 quantity. But that is not just sellers or buyers. That is both buyers and sellers combined. You don't know what the exact ratio is. The market moved up. With a very small candle, it started coming down. This could be an indication to you that, okay, you know what? There aren't enough buyers at this level. So just by looking at this, you could have initiated a sell. And the market spiked up. And every time the market spiked up too, immediately the sellers came in and pushed it all the way down. Then you know about the gap up thing, which I told you. Gaps are usually closed quick, right? And what happens with gaps is, once they are filled, they do tend to continue. So the market moved down. It couldn't really fill this entire gap because the previous day's close was at 10,755. It couldn't close the gap and immediately the buyers came in again. So this gives you an indication of what's happening in the market right now. In this current market, you should know that there's a fight going on. There are both buyers and sellers here, and there probably isn't going to be any big move in this time period. At least for now, there's no indication. So then the market moves up. It doesn't really do anything here and it goes down. See again, market started off here. It made a higher high, but it also made a lower low. Now, could it make a new high? The market could not make a new high. If the buyers were strong enough here, they should have been able to breach past this level because now they're coming in, right? But they couldn't. They came here and as soon as you see some slight indecision here, you can probably say that it could be a sell because there is indecision at the market. It isn't able to break through. So after even this candle, somewhere during this candle, you can probably initiate a sell position. Market slightly moves down, takes support at somewhat around the same levels as it last time, and immediately you get buyers coming in again. But this time the buyers are even weaker. The buyers are making lower highs. This high was at 10.8. The next high is at 10.798, but the next time it couldn't even reach 10.798. So you know, okay, fine, the market's moving up, but they are unable to make new highs. This could mean the sellers could come in, and that's exactly what's happening. The sellers come in, and you see the sellers successfully made a new lower low. Okay, the sellers successfully broke this gap. It took support around here, and this is what is happening. So this entire move, despite all these fake outs, it moved up again, came down, moved up again, came down, moved up again. This should have been very clearly a sell, especially looking back, because you can see it isn't able to break through. It isn't able to make new highs, and everything is always lower. So this lower low and another lower low coming in could have been expected, right? So the markets move down, and all of a sudden it forms a bit of a range, and we know ranges are where usually accumulation happens. Even here we can see some ranges being formed. Ignore the wicks when you're in ranges, because it's just different. So in ranges, you can see there is some accumulation. Before big moves, there is accumulation. So you can see there is a big up move here, but there is a range being formed. You can see there's a big down move starting here, but there is again a range being formed. It's very rare that you see a V. Usually you will have ranges being formed. Okay, so now the sellers won out so far. Until 11:40, the sellers were winning. And now the buyers have started to come in. The buyers came in, tried to come, successfully made it 10.768, which was a previous support level, which could have been a resistance. However, it then broke through the resistance, and it almost succeeded in making a new higher high, right? The market slightly fell down, but now you're seeing what the market is trying to do. From this point onwards, you have a higher high. Okay, good. What about a low? Are the lows lower? If this happened, but then the market moved down here again, it is still a downtrend. However, here you have some confirmation of an uptrend coming in. Why? From this level, the market moved up, but the lows, once the sellers came in, once the market started falling, they couldn't push the price down further. This is just one candle with a long wick. So buying pressure immediately came in. Once the price broke this level, buyers immediately came in again. So the market couldn't make a new lower low. So all throughout here, the market was able to make lower lows. The market was finishing lower. The highs weren't that impressive. The lows were more impressive. Now the opposite thing is happening. The market moves up, slightly corrects, moves up, slightly corrects. This is almost a range, and then it shoots up again, right? So from here, you should have had an idea that, okay, fine, maybe now something could be up. Market moves here in a range. You suddenly see a big spike in volume, tries to come up. But again, as soon as it moves up, you can see selling pressure start to come in. You can see these wicks coming in again, which is something you expect. Why? Because that was the previous point that it tried to break. It is at the 10,800 level. That is the price where it tried to break the last time again, but it isn't really able to break it. The price moves down. When the price moves down, then buyers come in. But again, you keep seeing these long wicks. These long wicks could be an indication. Plus, all throughout this day, there has been a fight happening. There has been no clear winner. Buyers have been trying to push the price upwards, and buyers are clearly winning long term. Because if you look back, all the way from here, the market has moved up. However, there have been sellers all throughout. Every time the price has moved up, the sellers have come in and smacked the price back down. Market moved up, sellers came in again. Market moved up, you could assume the same thing could happen. So at this point of time, you could wait for some indication. Maybe see, okay, fine. There are a lot of wicks here. The volume is somewhat low at this level. The wicks are coming in. Sellers could be now trying to do something with this information. So 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candle. Again, once you see this big move start to happening, you could jump on it. And we see the market breaks the day's low with a lot of force to break any important support or resistance level. If the market had to move up higher from here, it had to be either a gap up opening or a big, strong green candle. It's only big candles and big money which can break support and resistance levels. So anytime the market is making a new higher high, you can judge it based on the momentum of the candles which come in. Okay, so the market then just keeps falling. It breaks through the low. Once the market breaks the low again, you should now again know the sellers are completely in control now. There is no sign of a buyer. From this level to this level, there was no buyers at all. Nobody bought anything, right? This is again judging the health and strength of an up move. Over here, when the market is moving upwards, there was still some confusion. There was still wicks coming in. There was still people who were still looking to sell. Over here, nobody was looking to buy because look how strong these candles are. Look how long these candles are. And the end of the day, it finishes down here. Then moving on to the next day. Next day, you again have a gap up opening, but it isn't really important because the last of the market moved down by a lot. So you were expecting the market to remain in a range anyway. You expected the market to open somewhere around here because you know there are buyers and sellers at this level and they're fighting with each other. We don't really know who's in control, even though we know the long-term trend is a buy. Even the intermediate trend is a buy. But currently what's happening is we are being range bound. The market can't really break 10,800, but it isn't able to break 10,675 either. The market opens in a range. So now you can judge what's happening. You can try to see what's happening. Starting from the first candle itself, you can see the market tried to come down, break the day's low, but it couldn't. It immediately moved up. Once, if the market can't break the day's low immediately, then it does usually go up. Since it couldn't break this range, since it couldn't even reach the gap, you can expect the market to start moving upwards at this point of time. And this is what happens. The market breaks the first 5-minute candle and it continues to move up. Now we are monitoring the health of the uptrend. Okay, the market's going up. Here, there is some slight indecision, which means there are buyers and sellers here. Again, you can see wicks start coming in. So you know, okay, this is an uptrend. The market is moving upwards. We are making new highs. We don't really have any correction so far. Like these are small corrections, but they were immediately filled. So there is no real connection so far. There is no real low, but it isn't as strong as we expect. Now compare this up move from 9.15 all the way to 10.15. Compare this up move to this down move, 2.15 all the way till this time. So what's happening is this move was clearly stronger than this. So this is why you can expect some selling pressure to come in, which is why over here, you don't really expect the market to move up because this down move was so strong. The sellers were so strong. But over here, you can still expect some sellers to come in because the up movement hasn't been extremely strong. And that's exactly what happens. The market tries to move up. You can see some wicks coming in and the market suddenly corrects. However, does this mean we're in a downtrend now? No, because this is our first new low which is being formed. And the market is moving up again. So there is a higher high and there is a higher low. So you are still in an uptrend. You are not in a downtrend because there has been no lower low formed, right? Then the market starts moving upwards again. You can see some momentum building. And again, it's probably going to test this level because this is the level where you had some big institutional investors sitting who's saying, no, at this point of time, the level of 10,775 is too much. If the price reaches here, I'm willing to sell. So it again starts going up to that level and you again see some indecision. You can again see some indecision here. So then it tries to fall. Now the market falls again, but this time, where does it fall to? Does it make a new lower low? No, it doesn't. It's actually a high low again because ignore the wick. The wick isn't that important. The wick, the body of the candle is more important. So the markets, the previous low, if you think that is at 10,746, the next low is somewhere around here at 10,753. This shows you, okay, fine. There is a fight happening, but the sellers aren't really winning. The market has been an uptrend. The sellers came in, the market moved up. Sellers tried to come in, but they couldn't even reach this level. They couldn't even reach where they reached the last time because the buyers are stronger. So this candle is important here. Then the market is again moving up. It's moving in a range, it's moving sideways, but you know, okay, fine. What do I know so far? So far, the market has been an uptrend. The long-term trend is an uptrend. The intermediate trend is sort of like a range, but it has been trying to break this level. It has been trying to break the day's high level. And this is what happens. You have one big green candle and the market successfully breaks it. Now let's see if it can sustain this level. Because again, we know today the buyers haven't been very, very strong. They haven't been able to do too much so far. And once it breaks up, you can still see indecision candles coming in. The market isn't really able to push up much further. It isn't able to approach the other day. So at this point, you can even in this entire range, we are somewhere around the day high. The day high so far has been 10,800. Like the session, so far all the sessions that we've seen in the past 3-4 days. So it wasn't able to break it, and all of a sudden you have buyers coming. People usually look at this one big red candle and think, okay, fine, you know what? It's a sell now. There's a big candle, there's a lot of volume here, sell now. But look at what the sell actually accomplished. Did the sellers succeed in making new lower lows? Not really, they couldn't. Because again, markets are of here, they made a low at 750. They tried making another low at 755, and then this is where they stopped again. So despite this being a very big candle, the biggest candle of the day, it couldn't really do anything. It couldn't break lows. So you were still in an uptrend. Why? Because higher highs are still being formed and higher lows or similar lows are being formed. Sellers are not in control, and you can see the market starting to move upwards. Once the market starts to move upwards, this should have been a pretty clear buy. At this level, you should know, okay, fine. It tried to break this support that it had. It tried to make a new lower low. It just couldn't break the new lower low. So you can expect the previous trend to continue. And that's what happens. The market moves up. There's some correction. Market moves up. And the day just ends. The market just keeps going up. There are some corrections in the way, but that is just, that's basically irrelevant. Plus, we know when the market breaks this 10,800 level, we are already expecting buyers to come in. So once it reaches around somewhere around here, you can probably stop trading for the day, because you know that at this level, at the last time, what happened was you either need like big green candles, or the sellers will come in around this time. So the market finishes at around 850. And the next day you have a gap down opening. That again is expected. You expect a gap down opening because we are in a range. There are buyers and sellers both this point in time, and they are trying to make new highs, right? Market opens, you see it tries to go down. It couldn't break the 5-minute candle low, and it goes up. However, when it's going up, we are always judging the strength and the health of the up move. The candle wasn't really able to go too high up, and you can see wicks happening all throughout. There is selling pressure all throughout. There isn't like one big candle. Compare this one. This is a strong uptrend. If this had happened during a day, you wouldn't be looking at sells, because this is really strong. In just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In just 25 minutes, the market has moved up from 800 to 840. In this case, the market has also moved from 73 to around 80. It has moved to 30 points, but see how long it has taken. From 9:15, it took it all the way to 10. So in comparison, 25 minutes for 50 points. Here in whatever this is, in 1 hour, the market has moved by 30 points. So this isn't a big up move. The buyers are winning right now, but they aren't able to do too much. And all of a sudden, you see indecision start coming in. Indecision. See where the lower low is being formed. The market has already broken the previous day's low. If you ignore the first day's candle, it has broken this up move. Where the buyers start coming in from? The buyers start coming in from here. The buyers bought from here to here, right? Buyers bought from here to here, and then the market started falling. And the markets have already reached this level. And compare the strength of this downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 candles compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It took 10 candles for the market to move from this level to this level, but just 5 to move from here to here. So clearly, the sellers as of right now are stronger. And what do we see? We know we're at an important zone. We are about to break a day's low. And if that happens, a significant move usually happens, right? Because of the gap. Then the market breaks, it keeps moving downwards, and you can see it's a very, very strong sell. At this point of time, the market comes in, buyers come in, they try to push it upwards, but you're still looking at sells. You are not looking at a reversal pattern happening over here, mainly because it has been a really strong sell so far, and buyers can't come in that quickly. If there were buyers should have been at this level as well, and buyers should have been able to breach through and reach yesterday's levels, but that didn't happen. Okay, so the market moves up. We are still in seller's zone, because who's currently leading this charge right now? It is a seller who made the market drop from here all the way down to here, right? Market goes up and it's still a sell. Sell, some buyers come in. You can see the wick here. The market forms a bit of a range, but can it really make new highs? No, it tried making a new high, but immediately it came down. So you still have an idea. It is still a sell. You have another sell happening, and then you see what level the market is at. The market is somewhere here, which is a level it has paused at previously. If you ignore the spike out, this is a place where the market reversed direction. Market was coming down fast and hard, right? There were a lot of sellers, there was a lot of pressure here to push the market down. But from here, the buyers immediately came in and pushed it upwards, even if it was the next day. So, there is some importance to this level. Plus, the markets haven't been able to fall down too much. And they haven't been able to rise too much either. But even in this range, we aren't really making lower lows as such. You don't really expect a big down move you don't really expect the market to break 66 or whatever this level is here. Yeah, 72 or whatever. So the market goes down, you again see some indecision coming in, and now you see buyers. Now you see buyers, and now you wait to see if they can take out certain levels. This move happened here. You saw a range being formed here because not a lot happened from 1050 to 1210. The market was basically in the same place, right? So at 1050, the price was 740. And at 1210, it was again, it's around 740 itself. So it took a long time of nothing happening. So the sellers were losing control. The health and momentum of the sellers was dropping. See how fast this sell was compared to how much time this took from 800 all the way to 40, and compare how much time it took to get from 740 all the way to 700. This was much stronger. So okay, fine, the sellers are getting weaker. Once you know the sellers are starting weaker, and once you also know it is at somewhat of a resistance area, because the markets can't really fall down too much without any fundamental causes, we see buyers come in. And now we see buyers take out one big guy. The buyers have taken out one of the big candles that has taken out the entire up move. From 1220 to 1245, in about 25 minutes, the buyers did what the sellers could do in hours, in 20 minutes. So the buyers are now in control, but you still aren't really sure. But then you see they are breaking levels. You see some sellers trying to come in because of this wick, but then again, the buyers do push the price up further. You see a buy happening. You see this entire range being eliminated. This entire range is now broken by this candle. Market moves up. You again reach somewhat of a resistance level. The resistance level is the price it took support at here, where the buyers had initially come in from. And then you see your sellers coming in strong. Your sellers come in, they stop it from making another high, and the price starts falling. Once the price starts falling, you still are in an uptrend here. Why? Because you still haven't made a lower low. Unless you've made a lower low, you haven't changed the trend. Unless you make lower lows, you haven't gone out of the uptrend. You are still in a buy position. So the market has moved down. See how far it falls down to. See if it's somewhere around resistance level. You can see it's somewhere around the lower part of this range. This range that the market had formed. It's somewhere there. And then you see buyers come in. The buyers come in again and the market closes. Okay, you guys have any questions?
Yeah, hey, I have, actually, I'm very confused right now. So let's just look at the chart of 10 July. So when the day starts, you said that
in July, okay.
Yeah, so when the day starts, you said that if it stays above the initial level for 30 minutes, we should initiate buy. But I also think that
usually what happens is if the market isn't able to make a new low, if it isn't able to break down, if it isn't able to cover the gap, then it usually doesn't throughout the day. So in the beginning, you see there's a gap down in this case, right? In the last case that we discussed, it was different. It was a gap up, if you notice. Right? Over here, you have a gap up, correct?
Yeah.
Over here, you have a gap down. So this is the gap the market now has to fill up. If the market covers this entire place in an hour, then you can proceed that, okay, fine, the downtrend, the gap down which happened, that is not important. But that didn't happen. So again, we can see when there's a gap down and you can't cover up the gap, the market fell that way. You understand or no?
No, because like my understanding is that this has nothing to do with gap, what you previously told. It has to do with the like initial level. If that is not broken within like 30 or 1 hour, then you initiate your call.
You initiate
Maybe
your call.
maybe I yeah, initiate your either long and short.
So you are basically, so over here in this case, let's just repeat 10 July again. What happened in 10 July is we know we are looking at the big chart, right? So you start the day off looking at this. You know the market is in somewhat of a range. You know there are buyers and sellers here. So far, it's clear
Yeah,
that we are in a range, right? The intermediate trend is a range, even though the long-term trend is a buy. And we have been trying to break 10,800 for a while now. So far, so good, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Whenever we've come near 10,800, sellers have come in strong. Okay. So you will need a lot from the market to break 10,800. Okay. You will need some fundamental factor. You will need an institution wanting something important for the price to move up. So when the market was here on 9th July, right, the market has moved up, but you are still looking at it as, okay, fine, the market has moved up, but it could open down. So the market opens gap down, correct? Because there was probably some profit booking happening. Once the market is
Why did
reaching
you
10,
expect? Why did you expect on 10 July to open gap down?
no, not really. Basically, because so far we've been in a range, because we know, especially from this downtrend, there are sellers present here, right? The range basically shows there are buyers and sellers. And for anything to happen, you will need a big buy. If there was a buy from on 10 July, I would have either expected the market, if the market had to move up, to gap up by at least like 50 points or something, right? Or at least a 20, 30 point gap up to indicate that there is a lot of buying pressure, and then it will continue. So if for the market to move up, what I would expect is, one, probably the market has to open about that level. In the first half an hour, it shouldn't be able to cover that gap down, because it was gap up opening. It shouldn't be able to cover that gap, and then it'll keep moving upwards. That's what I'll expect. And I'll expect the up move to be really strong. Okay.
Yeah, actually, one more question. Maybe it is a stupid question, but if market had to open gap down, why didn't the people like the institutional sellers, they like put the market down on the like 9 July itself, on the like ending time of 9 July itself?
I don't know, because they were all buyers, right? They probably bought here. They probably bought here. They don't mind. They exited the positions when the day ended.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like they exited because the market kept going up.
The market went up here, but then the next day, when the market is moving, the market isn't moving up strong, right? The health and momentum of the up move is weak. It took a long time for the market to even go up by 30, 40 points. So you know the market is trying to go up. Whoever tried to push the market up yesterday is still trying, but he's getting weaker. Yesterday he was stronger, today he's getting weaker, which is when you can start expecting a sell happening. Because why isn't the same strength that I saw yesterday? Why can't I see the same strength today as well? Okay, fine, it was a gap down opening. Okay, gap downs happen sometimes. But if you're going up, go up with the same force, right? If you are still sure that the market should go up to 10,900, why would you close a position quick? Suppose I tell you that, this is the fundamental factor which is happening. The AGR meeting is tomorrow. This is the result. If you are a big boy, if you're an institutional investor, you will probably try to estimate, okay, fine, because of the AGR meeting, Bank Nifty or Nifty should move up by 500 points. Why would you close a position? Why would you stop? You'll probably keep going to the same force. Over here, since there wasn't any big force in the buys, without a strong move, you can't break a level. So even if the market has to fall from this level, the down move, whatever move breaks this downward pressure of 10,672, it has to be very strong. Again, if you want to break 10,800, it has to be very strong. Until then, every time the market reaches around 10,684, it is still a buy. Right? Selling, I would not recommend a 10,800 because you know that the long-term trend is an uptrend. So why go against the trend? Every time the market reaches 10,680 or something, I will be looking to buy unless there's a fundamental factor involved. Unless something very serious happens which changes people's minds, I know the long-term trend is working with me. I know that we have a support at this level, and I know you will need a lot of strength to break this down.
Yeah, makes sense.
Make sense? Anything else?
Yeah, at around 110, you
Which
see
day?
there are long wicks.
Which day?
At the same day, 10 July.
Okay, 110.
Yeah, there are long wicks, right?
Yeah.
So here, like what you said. So actually, that made sense. If there are long wicks, then maybe we will go in opposite direction. But here, that
Correct.
doesn't happen.
If there are long wicks, but you're forgetting the important part of the trend is the market making a new lower low. This trend shows you, this wick shows you that there are sellers here. That's all it's telling you. But the market is an uptrend now, right? Because where is our low? Was the market able to make a new lower low? That's when we'll initiate short positions. Correct? Because over here, the market failed to make a new lower low. How can it be a sell? Over here, it's still a sell because the market is moving down. There is a new lower low being formed. So even though the market moved up here, it is still a sell. Why? Because you can't make a higher high and the last thing was a lower low. So you are still clearly in a downtrend. Over here, you can see it's an uptrend. Why? Because you're making a higher high. Your lows are over here. There is no lower low. So why would you go against the trend? The trend here is now a short-term uptrend based on higher highs and higher lows. Is that clear or no?
Yeah, it's clear. Thanks.
Anything else?
No question.
No? Okay. Thank you. Bye.